This is Holistic Vigilantes, hosted by Dr. Kimberly Bear and Dr. Jennifer Tippegrave. These two badass dentists are breaking the mold to provide modern dentistry that doesn't compromise overall health. Determined to spread the word, the Vigilantes are kicking down the door as they bring you honest answers to hard questions. Buckle up for a wild ride down the Meridian Highway as they explore the connection between oral health and whole body health, saving the world one smile at a time. And now, the Holistic Vigilantes.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jennifer Tippegrave.
And I'm Dr. Kimberly Bear.
And we are the Holistic Vigilantes.
Mercy. Hallelujah. Anyhow.
Today we have Dr. Phil Mollica. He is a pioneer in the development and integration of ozone in dental medicine. Since 1997, Dr. Mollica has implemented and developed the standard of care for oxygen therapy in dentistry. Dr. Phil is board certified in integrative and naturopathic medicine. He is the founder and president of the American College of Integrative Medicine and Dentistry. Please help us welcome Dr. Phil Mollica.
Thank you. Thank you for this great opportunity. Anyhow.
I told him it was a warm-up for later. He's speaking at the SDS conference. We're in New York City right now. So just trying to educate our listeners, our patients.
I did my biological training with Phil, and he changed my life and my practice, my patients, and literally I don't even know where I'd be right now. I mean, amazing. I started off with the ozone course.
Yep.
And then I was like, how can I learn more? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you should come back in for the master's program. And my whole life changed after that. It was amazing. And still, it's crazy all the people that you've reached, really.
It is pretty amazing. I would have never figured that out going back 20-something years, and that flew by. Where did that go?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But how many people those people have helped? It's really incredible. I mean, I just think about we use ozone on everybody.
Everything.
Right.
So it's like
I did the ozone training in 2008, and I did the course in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was telling him how I was babysitting your daughter at the time. I was going into dental school.
You really brought her into the practice, huh?
Yeah. And you were like, you have to read this article about mitochondria. It's very
What
cool.
a good student
I
she
know.
was. Still is.
So Phil, if you can tell us a little bit for our listeners, what is ozone?
Ozone is actually what's called triatomic oxygen. It occurs naturally in the atmosphere. It actually is, the Earth is covered with oxygen. And as the ultraviolet rays from the sun come in, which are very powerful and damaging, the oxygen layer around the Earth actually absorbs that energy. As a result of absorbing the energy, triatomic oxygen is made what we call ozone. So you have two molecules of oxygen, the energy comes in, splits them apart, so you have little singlet oxygen floating around, and they recombine with normal oxygen, and that creates ozone naturally. We use it on the medical dental end. We have to fabricate it. Basically, we make pure oxygen, we add energy to the system, and then the outcome would be ozone on a medicinal dental level, for sure.
Yeah. And what are some uses? I mean, I know in our office we use it before we place a filling, we use it in extraction sites. I know you guys have used it for TMJ treatment. Well,
ozone on the medical end, introducing oxygen ozone into a biologic system, which is us. When we're making up ozone, it's a very, very little tiny amount of ozone. You take a little square of oxygen, what we call one milliliter. Basically 97, 98% or more of that is really oxygen, just very little ozone. But ozone goes a very long way. The body responds. What we want the ozone is actually a precursor. It creates what's called peroxides. Those peroxides is what does the yeoman's work in the human body. Now, the beauty of ozone, when we talk about especially dentistry, what are the issues we deal with dentistry? Well, trauma, things dentists do and amazing what patients do to themselves, but also infection, constantly trying to control infection. What is infection made up? Well, made up of what? Bacteria, viruses, fungus, and by the way, parasites, okay? The commonality of all those bugs, okay, when it becomes imbalanced in our biologic system, we call that infection, okay? So how do we control that? The beauty of ozone is that these bugs cannot be resistant to ozone. Why? Because they lack what's called antioxidants in their cell membranes. Ozone is an oxidative therapy, okay? That oxidative stress on these bugs just pops their membranes and kills them. Our healthy cells love it because they become upregulated, start to function better. So in our world of dentistry, like you said, every aspect of dentistry has some implication with ozone, from ozonated water that we spray all the time, okay, to applying to cavities, periodontal care, root canal, okay? So any kind of thing, we can use ozone, and it's multiple different ways.
Sure.
All conversations and information exchanged during participation of the Holistic Vigilantes podcast or interaction within the social media umbrella of the Holistic Vigilantes pages are strictly for educational and entertainment purposes. Back to the show.
What are some uses that you've seen during COVID with ozone?
Well, that's always been, a very controversial issue, a use of ozone. So we're talking about with COVID. COVID is what's called a phospholipid membrane type of virus, okay? So it's very susceptible to oxidation, oxidative stress, and peroxides. So physician friends of mine that are in the complementary world, holistic world, we're doing what's called major autohemotherapy. And basically what it does, you draw some blood out of the body itself, about 50 cc's, bubble ozone through it, you're creating tons and tons of peroxides. Reintroduce that back into the system, and it wipes the COVID right out itself, okay? It also protects you from those spike proteins, which is a real problematic issue. So you don't have these long-term problems associated with COVID exposure. That's what's gets you in the long term, is those spike proteins that are relevant within the system itself. So ozone IVs were done. Like I said to you earlier today, my daughter was a COVID nurse. She ran the COVID ward over here at the Holy Name Hospital, and that was like a hotbed of ozone. I was on COVID. So what she would do is come home every day, squirt a little ozone up her nose, because that's where the COVID enters, wipe the COVID out that way, and she also did IVs of vitamin C and ozone. And you know something? Not a bump in the road through all that. Where everybody else was getting sick, getting COVID, everything else. Because, ozone's interesting, where it has this interesting effect on the immune system. We call it modulation of the immune system. Meaning that if you're inflamed, ozone brings the inflammation down. If the immune system is underactive, it actually upregulates the immune system back into what we call homeostasis, into balance. So the immune system is up and functioning right, because ultimately, guess what? Natural immunity, when we had it, remember when those days? Okay? Is the really key to success in long-term health and wellness. So nurturing, your gut, of course, where your immune system lives, and also upregulating and getting your immune system function to better. That's the greatest protection of all, and ozone supports that whole process.
Yeah. Why would you say more people aren't using it?
Availability and knowledge. You'd be surprised the volume of people out there seeking ozone therapy in dentistry as well as medicine. I've just became the president of the American Academy of Ozone Therapy with Dr. Frank Schellenberg. Thank you. I think another volunteer job, right? Okay. And so we just had our meeting in Denver, and the number of physicians and dentists that come to these meetings, and it's just the word spreading out. And every day at my office, I get calls looking for ozone physicians or dentists. And you can go on AAOT, American Academy Ozone Therapy.us, AAOT.us. You can find physicians and dentists that actually practice with ozone, which is significantly good for the patient.
Yeah, I think a big reason it's not, is also because the money situation. I feel like there's a lot more money in products and especially dental materials that it would eliminate the need for. So like, why would they want to promote ozone where it's really, it's not, I mean, you have to buy a generator, but besides that and a little bit of oxygen, and
That's all it takes.
I know. So it's not even a money maker and a practice, besides, but as far as like, there's no supply company making any money or pharmaceutical company making any money.
And that's why, everyone asks, does it have FDA approval? It can't, because the FDA only approves things that are synthetically made, like pharmaceutical agent. This is pure oxygen. Now, the important thing we've learned scientifically is for dentistry alone, there's over 500 published peer-reviewed articles out there now. With medicine, there's over 4,000 published peer-reviewed articles on the science behind ozone. What we understand now, which is very important, the basis how your immune system works, meaning those neutrophils, macrophages, those things that gobble up the bacteria, we always thought that they would come along in infection. Your immune system comes along, grabs this bacteria, okay, processes it, makes enzymes, dissolves it, and poops it out the other end, right? But what now we know is actually these cells are producing what? Ozone. This is how they kill the bugs. Our immune system, we make things called antibodies, okay? Antibodies are produced by these things called plasma cells. These plasma cells, once an infection is recognized, releases these antibodies. So we always thought antibodies are what? About information. They tag onto a bacteria, send out these chemicals, we call cytokinase, these chemical information, right? Out there to alert the immune system how to respond appropriately. Well, now we recognize that through the work that Scripps Institute, that the antibodies themselves are producing ozone and killing the bugs also on the spot. So other than messengers, they're also killers. But going back to our immune cells, what we now know is that, which is a beautiful example of the neutrophil, okay, which has great implications in dentistry. Comes along, recognizes the bug, gobbles it up, and now it has to kill it and get rid of it. Once again, like I said, it was kind of, we thought, well, it's enzyme system. No, it actually produces through this what's called water catalytic pathway, ozone. That's how it kills the bug. The enzyme comes in after the fact and cleans up the mess and releases it out into the system. Now, the interesting thing also with these neutrophils was that there was always a question, why does neutrophils, these immune cells, have tons of vitamin C in it? The beauty of biology. And actually, what it does is it releases vitamin C so it doesn't self-destruct. As a producing superoxidizing agent, it has its own vitamin C to quench it so it doesn't kill itself. So the basis for your immune system is what? Ozone. So talk about a natural product, a biologic product. You can't get any closer than that. So the basis, once again, for our immune system is the production. We make ozone all day long. We're just supporting that process. That's it. Simple as that.
Well, thank you for all that you do.
Yeah.
For all the education that you do. I know. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Really helping a lot of people.
Well, for old friends, I try to do these things. I shouldn't say old. I take that back.
If you had one piece of advice to give to our listeners about anything, what would you say?
Well, don't overvisit your dentists or physicians. They'll always find something wrong. But, once again, do your homework. Go out there, visit your biologically based dentist. You're much safer as far as materials are concerned. And if you have like silver or mercury based fillings or root canals, have them assessed on a regular basis and get these mercury fillings removed in a safe, effective manner because they are toxic.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.